of the Freedom to Draw Unsolved Mysteries. I'm your host, John. We'll get right into today's episode. Is going to be the most famous unexplained death of all time, in my opinion. It's in my opinion only. Naysayers can say, oh, we know how he died. But really look into the case, and you might question Lee Harvey Oswald actually doing the crime. That's right, we're talking about November 22nd, 1963. The most famous unexplained death, in my opinion. And JFK's missing brain. And for those that you maybe don't know about JFK's missing brain, his brain is not buried with his body in Arlington Cemetery. So we're going to draw a picture of JFK himself with his brain intact, but after he died, that's the mystery. Where did his brain go, and could that have explained his death? And that's why we're calling this one an unexplained death. The most famous unexplained death of them all. And in the background, of course, we got 1963's famous hits on the radio. So this is kind of take you back in time to what was playing on the radio when this guy was alive and ticking. So we start off with John F. Kennedy's missing brain. President John F. Kennedy was infamously assassinated in Dallas, Texas on November 22nd, 1963. An autopsy was performed soon after his death. It was recorded that his brain was removed prior to his burial. The organ was stored in the National Archives after the autopsy. There are many theories as to why the brain was removed, regardless of the motive to remove his brain post-mortem. The most mysterious aspect of the brain's removal is the fact that it went missing from the National Archives. Some theorize his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, secretly removed it to prevent any analysis that would reveal his brother's illness or how many medications he had been taking at the time of his untimely death. Others believe the removal was orchestrated by the United States government because the organ might reveal that the assassination did not occur as the history books say it did. According to records from a House Committee on Assassinations, the National Archives was aware the brain was missing, but decided not to pursue its whereabouts after discerning, though, an investigation that the brain's misplacement was not due to their error. To this day, the brain has not been located. So, alright, this could fall under the missing category, but it's not. Is a brain a person? I don't know. I kind of do missing persons with the missing category. So I just elected to file this under unexplained death because, in my opinion, it is an unexplained death. This is probably the most famous unexplained death of all time. So, not too long ago, President Trump was going to release some 80,000 documents on the Kennedy assassination. But when it came time to do it, he kind of deflected, and he cited that at this time releasing the documents would do more harm than good to the American people. So once again we were left in the dark about who killed Kennedy, and that kind of sums up this episode here. We are, when we get into this case, you're going to have a lot of questions if you did not know it beforehand. There's a lot of unexplained things. So Kennedy's missing brain. On the infamous day of November 22nd, 1963, JFK was assassinated. He was killed by somebody. We know that as a fact. And that's about where it leaves off. JFK was riding through Texas, and someone mortally wounded him. When he was buried, where is his missing brain? Why was the brain not buried with him? The Warren Commission said one projectile entered from the rear and exited in the front. So then that would support the Lee Harvey Oswald angle. The missing brain would have cleared that right up, wouldn't it? The grassy knoll theory says shots came in from the front, and multiple eyewitnesses say they heard gunshots from that grassy knoll. Without Kennedy's brain, we will never know if this theory is correct. Who benefited from JFK's death? And why would someone go through so much trouble and effort to take someone's brain? These are all good questions. Moments before that fatal shot, the Secret Service car behind Kennedy's car reportedly slowed down. Was this an order, or was it just a coincidence? The brain may have been withheld because of drug use or chemical agents used to incapacitate the president before that fatal shot. The brain is missing more than 60 years later, still missing. A lot of people don't know that Kennedy had a really bad back, and he was on meds for that almost pretty much every day. $150,000 to 200,000 people gathered in Dallas, Texas to watch JFK's motorcade. On that day, there's some other interesting people that showed up in the crowd. There was a guy called the Umbrella Man. If you watch the footage, if you go on YouTube and watch the footage, you could see that it was a beautiful, beautiful day out. There was not a rain cloud in sight. So it's odd that someone had an umbrella, and witnesses do say that right before the fatal shot happened, that guy put the umbrella up and then put it back down, like kind of like a signal. This could be all coincidence, but multiple witnesses say the Umbrella Man was there. Also, the babushka lady, I think it was. I don't know much about that. Some lady was wearing a Russian babushka. Something happened. I don't really remember the specifics on that. So Governor Connally was sitting right in front of Kennedy, and his wife was to the side of Jackie Kennedy. Governor Connally's wife had mentioned right before that shooting, she said to JFK, "You can't say that Texas doesn't love you, John." And John F. Kennedy responded, "No, you certainly can't." So those are his famous last words. He never spoke another word after that. Those were his famous last words as 3 gunshots fired at the young president. 2 bullets struck him in the throat and the head, critically wounding him. The motorcade swiftly takes him to Parkland Hospital. Just 6 minutes after being shot, JFK is taken to Parkland Hospital. Miraculously, he's still alive at this point. Then he goes on to the operating room. But then he is soon pronounced dead at 1 p.m. at Parkland Hospital. So after that death, a lot of strange events happened after that. According to Dallas, Texas's law, the body is supposed to stay in Dallas, Texas, and have an autopsy performed on it because it is a homicide investigation. But the Secret Service stepped in and said, "We are taking the body. By law, the body is supposed to stay in the area where the homicide occurred." An argument ensued between the chief medical examiner and the Secret Service agents. By this time, LBJ and his representatives finally convinced the medical staff to release the body, and the rest is history on that. The representatives and LBJ convinced the medical examiner that it would be a good idea to take the body to Bethesda, Maryland to be examined. So these men were just following orders. At Bethesda, there was a full autopsy performed by two military men that were not really experienced in performing autopsies. They were just following orders because they were high-ranking military men. And they sort of performed a botched autopsy. So during this autopsy, President Kennedy's brain was removed from his body and put in a bucket and labeled bucket number 9. Kennedy's body was then buried in Arlington National Cemetery, but his brain was being moved to multiple locations in Washington, D.C. So his brain was not buried with his body. what happened to his brain. We're listening to music from 1963 as I draw the president with his brain intact. So on October 31st, Halloween, 1966, JFK's brain just vanished. 6 decades later, we still have no idea how JFK was really killed and what happened to his brain. JFK's brain was originally supposed to be held at the White House, but soon after, his brother Bobby Kennedy took the brain and housed it at the National Archives building. Some theorized that Bobby took the brain to conceal the fact that the president was not in tip-top condition, but rather on many medications to make his chronic pains go away. Like I said, he had a bad back. Hello, Chris Gideon. What's up, buddy? I definitely acknowledge you. Other trolls I just ignore. This is Kennedy's missing brain. I don't know if you even know about it, but watch the show and you'll learn. This is the most famous unexplained death ever, in my opinion. But so Kennedy had a bad back, and maybe Bobby Kennedy didn't want America to know that he was like a medication addict, basically. This medication made his pain go away. And maybe Bobby did not want the press to get a hold of this knowledge, so that is why he hid the brain. It's a possibility. So JFK is not the only one. I know, yeah, Chris, you're familiar, but are you familiar that if we had his brain, Kennedy's brain, we probably could solve this whole business of, did Lee Harvey Oswald actually shoot him? So that's the pretty much the basis of this show is this missing brain probably could solve the mystery once and for all. So, but Albert Einstein was also a famous person that had his brain taken away from him after he died. And it was kept for years by the pathologists that studied him after he died. And Albert Einstein's family was unaware of that, this guy taking their loved one's brain. But the difference here was that Einstein's brain was missing only for a few years. It has been located and stored properly in a museum in Philadelphia. So they got the brain back. This Kennedy's brains, and it's another important thing to note is none of the Kennedys will comment on this particular aspect of the assassination. Where is the missing brain? Why was he not buried with his brain? They don't address this. They don't talk about it. So that makes me even more curious. Why don't they address the elephant in the room? They're very tight-lipped on the brain issue. So they probably shouldn't be. It's 100% certain that JFK was buried without his brain. That we know. That is a fact that we know. Where is it? Where is this missing brain? That's the million-dollar question. Who took it? And why did they take it? If we had it, would things have changed for Lee Harvey Oswald? And even Bobby Kennedy? These are all really good questions. Another theory is that someone just simply lost the brain. You know, oversights do happen. People make mistakes. We're not perfect. We're not perfect AI. You know what I mean? Possibly could have been just misplaced. It is possible that it's just a big error on the government's behalf, and then they tried to cover it up because they didn't want to look stupid. You know, they didn't want to look inept. Could be as simple as that. But this is not a popular theory. Alan Dulles was the head of the Warren Committee. And why do I bring up Alan Dulles' name? He was also the former head of the CIA. And I say former because guess who fired him from that position? I'll give you one guess. And the hint is I'm drawing him right now. Yes, JFK relieved him of his position of the head of the CIA. So, and then I bring up his name because they put him in charge of the Warren Commission. And they definitely were not friends. So why would the government put a guy that they know does not like Kennedy and the feeling is mutual to investigate the guy's death? The president fired duelists. The president forced duelists to resign when the Bay of Pigs invasion failed miserably. And JFK was totally embarrassed by that, and it made him look weak and inept, and gave the popular opinion at the time, that he didn't know what he was doing, not to the American people, but for our rivals like Russia and Vietnam. Alan Dulles made him look like a fool, basically. That's what the report is trying to say. But maybe they shouldn't have put him in charge. Yes, Chris, I did. That is a good point. People may have knowledge about this whole case and are afraid to speak out because of fear of the government and reprise from the government. It's a good point. So JFK and Alan Dulles were not friends, and so they put him in charge of the Warren Commission, which I just found kind of ironic, kind of nonsensical. Even with all these strange happenings, the fact still remains that JFK's brain is missing and someone stole it or lost it or misplaced it. Was this a government cover-up? Or was it a brother trying to clean up his dead brother's image? Those are the two popular theories of this case. And it is an unexplained death, in my opinion, because the people could say all they want that Lee Harvey Oswald had a mountain of evidence against him, but the fact was that I believe the shots came from not the way the Warren Commission said. The Warren Commission said the projectile entered from the rear and it exited in the front, but I believe it's opposite. So then in my opinion, this is an unexplained death, and this is an unsolved mystery. So definitely the brother theory could be correct, Chris. I could definitely see people trying to protect his image. Because he was involved in some scandal when he was president. Now, what do you guys think? Or did you guys even know that his brain was missing? I didn't even know. To tell you the truth, this was all news to me. I had no idea that. I thought Kennedy was buried in Arlington Cemetery and everything was intact, except for just because he got his brains kind of splattered from the shot, but I didn't know it was completely missing from his body. That was news to me. So does anybody else just found that out like I did, or is this more common knowledge than I think? Thank you guys for the compliments. I appreciate that you're not trolls. I try to just ignore trolls. Sometimes if I don't acknowledge you, I might think you are a troll, but you're not. But I just try to ignore trolls. And when I have time, I block them too. So the reason why this case is still relevant is when Trump was even hesitant to bring this case out in the main stage just not too long ago. He declined to unveil the secret 80,000 documents to deal with Kennedy's assassination, which is even more suspicious if you ask me. So you didn't know that the brain was missing? Yeah, well, they tried to keep that secret, but it is a fact. So, all right, so this does it for this episode. This is JFK. This is him when he had his brain, but when he got buried, he was buried without his brain, and that leads to this unexplained death, which I believe is the most famous unexplained death of them all. So, peace out, true believers. Thanks for dropping in, Chris. And I will catch you on the flip side. Again, true believers, peace out. Thank you for watching.